What's up guys, Knewaccount here, and today I want to have a discussion about maximizing your damage in Paragon through penetration. Building penetration is essential for maximizing your damage. It is mathematically impossible doing more damage building straight power over having some penetration with that power. Building pen applies for both basic and ability damage dealers, so no matter which hero you enjoy playing, it's important to build penetration. Ideally, to maximize your damage, you want to build enough penetration so that you pierce right through your enemy's defenses. However, this is an idealistic case, and game to game you'll find different players doing different stats for defense. That being said, there is still a minimum amount of penetration that you can still build in order to maximize your damage. If you look at the screen, you'll see a chart showing how much defense each hero will have at level 15. You'll notice that ability defense is the same throughout the chart, but basic defenses change throughout classes. ADCs actually have the highest amount of basic defense, while casters have the lowest amount of basic defense at level 15. Keep in mind these are natural defenses, not how much it scales or anything like that. Now these values are very important for determining the minimum amount of penetration that you want to build for any given class. In most cases, squishy damage dealers don't build defense, so the only defense that they will have is the minimum defense given to them by their class. This can be used as a starting point to maximize your damage with penetration. And so as previously mentioned, ideally you want enough pen to match your target's current defense. But being that in every game you'll encounter different stats for different heroes depending on how that player decides to play the game, that can be a little challenging. However, there is still a minimum amount of defense, and that is the defense that we just discussed. 23 basic penetration for basic heroes and 32 ability penetration for ability heroes. Although 23 is the minimum amount of basic defense, I personally like to build a 32 basic penetration. This allows me to fight fighters a lot more efficiently. And so I took some time to show the plot on the screen, which shows the effect penetration has on Sparrow's basic attacks. This data was collected assuming the target had 32 basic defense. So just for clarification, the x-axis is showing how many points were put into power versus how many points were put into penetration. And so you'll see that the most damage Sparrow can do is when she meets that condition of having the exact same amount of penetration as the target has for defense. Any more or any less from that value will be a damage decrease. The second chart is a similar practice, but this time using counters as ult so we can see the effect with ability penetration. And you'll see that ability penetration behaves the same as basic penetration. It is going to cap out in damage exactly where your penetration completely matches the enemy's defenses. Any more or any less would be a damage decrease. And so the takeaway of all this data is that you should always build the minimum amount of defense that a player has. And the number I like to stay around is 32 for both penetrations. To gather all this information, I used a damage calculator, which I'll leave a link to in the description down below. Before using it, however, I validated and confirmed that the information given was accurate. And so one last topic I want to cover is when to build penetration. Because everyone in the game has a natural base defense, it's good to build a little bit of penetration early in the game. This is especially true if you're playing on roles such as a jungler or you're trying to be aggressive in lane. Now, I'm not saying to build all the penetration early, but you definitely want to have a little bit. Typically what I do is build a 6-point card either second or third in my build. So that's a penetration card with 3 minor upgrades. And around the 30 CP mark, I'll build a more stronger penetration card. And so let's bring this all back around. Everyone in the game has a base stat for defense. In order to maximize your damage, you want to pierce exactly through their base stats. Basic defense will vary from character to character, but the base ability defense is always 32. I like to build 32 basic penetration and 32 ability penetration. This has given me the most success on all characters that I build damage on. I encourage you all to try this yourselves in bot matches where you will take your build, put all power, and then swap out one of those power cards for a penetration card and then test the damage again on an enemy hero. You will notice that your damage will decrease on minions, but your damage towards players will increase. If you do this right, you'll notice that your damage will be the same for both minions and players. That's because you've completely pierced the amount of defense that the enemy has. If you're new to the game and still collecting cards, luckily Paragon has given us some generic penetration cards that you can use. And so that being said guys, I've been Knewaccount, thank you so much for watching. If you found the video useful, please like the video and share it to your friends. Also hit the subscribe button as it would help my channel grow, and stay tuned for more gaming content.